increase in direct-to-consumer advertising to raise awareness, an increase in points and coupons for their consumers to try and, drive more brand loyalty, a little bit more on the contracting, trying to lock up accounts from a bundling approach so that it's difficult for them to make a different product choice without feeling sort of the pressure across the portfolio of their programs. And then we also see periodically there'll be promotions and specials that they run to try and stock the shelves to make it harder for a practice to bring on new products. But those are sort of the things that we've seen, the different companies do in the marketplace.
Okay. And then maybe on the SG&A side, you have the sales force for the filler launch. What's the incremental spend here as we get close to approval?
Toby, you want to take that?
Yeah, I think we've guided on an annual basis of what we plan to spend from the total OpEx to R&D to SG&A, and we stand by that. We reiterated that in our Q2 call. I think that going forward, we have some optionality, looking into our crystal ball into 2022 about as DAXI's approved, our highest ROI investment is with our field team. And so we'd be looking to reevaluate that and see if we can scale that up to continue the growth as 2022 rolls along. So I think that's one of the key features on sort of SG&A spend as a whole in terms of DAXI. There's obviously you'll have a full year of effect of sort of promotional activities there too for DAXI, but we're at a real reasonable level with our RHA investments there that I think are sustainable going forward. If that provides some guidance.
Okay, that's helpful. Maybe just the fintech platform. The processing volume run rate, I think, definitely exceeded my expectations. We're over 500 million by Q2. Maybe just some color on that acquisition out of the gate, and what's I think PayFac is ready in the fourth quarter, which you've guided to. How should we be thinking about that after that's implemented?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at sort of the overall thesis behind the acquisition, it was really to have something that would compete effectively with the loyalty programs of our competitors. And I think that the market is conditioned today to want to see not just great products, but what can you do to help these practices either drive more patient flow, become more profitable, run a better business. And so when we looked at how we were going to participate in that segment of the market, we looked at traditional loyalty programs, but ultimately thought, consistent with some of the differentiated products that we're bringing forward, is there something that we can do that's differentiated on the services side that our customers will see as adding true value, but will also further enhance sort of our standing with the product side of it. So we thought Hint MD was that solution. And we liken it to what's happening at coffee shops, for example. The days of the dumb terminal are being replaced by the Clover devices. So when you go in there, you take a credit card payment, they spin it around, you can leave a tip, it does inventory management, it does all of these things. And so the Hint platform is designed to sit right there at the transaction to be able to scrape source level data that can either be used for data insight and analytics, setting up white label loyalty programs with the practice so that the loyalty is to the practice, not just to the brand, subscription services, and then there'll be a variety of other things that pivot off of that. But it all comes down to whether or not you can capture really good, clean data at the transaction. And so that's really what Hint is designed to do. At this point, as you noted, we're largely just doing credit card transactions. We don't have the functionality yet to capture the data, do some of these white label programs. That's going to come with PayFac. And as you referenced, we expect to have that sort of fully launched in the market later this year. We're currently in beta testing on that right now. And what happens when you become a payment facilitator is there's all these different parties that participate in the overall credit card spread. You got the issuing banks, you've got Visa and MasterCard, you have all these other folks. So by becoming a payment facilitator, we pick up one more portion of that stack, which will give us that functionality. So we're very pleased, obviously, with the processing volume that we're generating. That's largely just on, having a competitive price in the market. And then as we turn on this other functionality, we believe that, practices are going to see a lot of value in that system and view us sort of as a real partner that's helping them grow the business. We've previously talked about there being sort of 50 to 100 basis points that's available to us as part of a transaction. And these transactions aren't limited to our products. It's for all practice transactions where a credit card is used. And then we'll have to figure out over time of that 50 to 100 basis points, how much do we translate to sort of our bottom line? How much do we then invest back into the practices to reward certain performances, whether it's advertising dollars or discounting products, around that bundle. And that is something that we're going to still have to work our way through.
Okay. And once you activate PayFac, and it would mean that's when you would roll out your kind of loyalty program. And does this give you kind of an advantage in the market in terms of kind of because it's not just you on the platform. So does that give you a view into what's going on in the marketplace?
It will. I mean, we need to be very thoughtful and careful how we manage the data, because at the end of the day, this is the physician's data, and we don't want to do anything to sort of challenge sort of the trust that we're building. But certainly from an aggregate roll-up standpoint, yes, we'll have visibility. And on a practice basis, we might ask permission. Are you okay with us looking at this data? If they're not, we won't. But they might say, yeah, hey, let's do a program where this quarter we're going to kind of look at this product to see, if we promote it, what happens there. And it might not even be our product, right? They might say, hey, let's look at skincare this quarter and run a promo on skincare. But certainly at an aggregated high level, we will definitely have unique insights to data. And then at a practice level, it will be based on sort of whatever permissioning we get from the accounts themselves.
Okay. Maybe in the last couple of minutes, maybe we'll just move on to the therapeutic side of the pipeline. You announced the Juniper phase 2 upper limb spasticity data earlier this year. Can you just talk about the timing for that end of phase 2 meeting and the gating factors to kind of move that program on into phase 3?
Yeah, we've said, we have an end of phase 2 meeting coming up here before the end of the year, and that's really going to inform the phase 3 program. And so this will reveal a lot in terms of trial size and, what's involved to move that program to the next level. And so I would expect, as part of our, 22 op plan and sort of, spend guidance, that, we'll have that factored in based on what we hear from the agency.
Okay. And then similarly on CD, you mentioned long-term safety data. That's the primary gating factor for the filing. And then
that is correct.
And then a 22 submission.
That's correct.
Okay.
With an expected 23 approval.
Okay. And then on maybe just a refresh on migraine. How are you thinking about advancing that program? Have you been able to is that moving forward, or what's the update there?
Yeah, we've long said that, migraine, given its size, it's not an if, it's a when. We didn't activate that program in the last year's planning calendar just because of the number of different clinical programs that we already had underway and our need as a small company to rationally allocate capital. It also helped us sort of watch the evolution of the CGRP market a little bit more. And so, we are actively having discussions around that right now. What kind of trial might we run in migraine? Is this the year to do it? So, the nice thing about these markets is that they've proven to be pretty durable over time, and we continue to think that will be the case in the market. And so I think as we give our guidance for 2022, we'll be able to come out and say, this is kind of our plan for migraine, and we're activating it this year. Or, given sort of the other commercial priorities that we have and some of the other things around upper limb spasticity, we're going to push it a little bit further out. But, we continue to think it's going to be a really important market for us.
Okay. And then maybe just finally on the biosimilar Botox program, can you share what the next steps are with your partner? And maybe Toby, if you could just review the economics on that.
Toby, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So next steps is both company, Viatris and Revance, talked about a type 2 meeting with the FDA that's scheduled this year in the September timeframe. It takes a while to get the final minutes, so don't expect an update in September on that. But that meeting will inform the clinical path forward to the ultimate approval for a biosimilar to Botox. After that type 2 meeting, then we would plan, if successful, of course, into the clinic in 2022, and that's sort of our up plan right now for the biosimilar program. It's been a great partnership with, as you talked about, with Viatris. We've received $60 million since the signing of the deal back in 2018. We have an additional $70 million of clinical and regulatory milestones, and up to $225 million of commercial milestones. Viatris has the commercialization rights for this around the world, ex-Japan. And so then we earn sort of low single digits in certain countries, low teens to mid-teens in the US